Greatness will walk among us. One unlike the rest.
It's a huge feat to have made it on the cover of the NBA 2K game, and it's a pretty defining moment in any basketball player's career. If it's such a prestigious achievement, then why has it been called a curse in the last few years? Here's all you need to know about the NBA 2K curse. Are you ready? Let's get into it.
What time is it?
It's Dame time.
When an NBA player gets the rare opportunity to be featured on the cover of the video game NBA 2K, it's an honor and a privilege. And since there's usually one cover per year, it's a pretty huge deal to have your face plastered on the world's most famous basketball game cover. The likes of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James have all been on the cover at one point or another. However, the NBA 2K cover seems to have recently collected a weird reputation for itself. Turns out, many players who have been featured on the video game cover have switched teams in the following year. This may just be a coincidence, of course, but after it happens for the 6th time, one has to wonder if it's the Madden curse all over again. More on that later. The suspicious series of events started in 2014. Let's walk through every NBA 2K curse ever to celebrate Damian Lillard's 2K21 cover on the game. NBA 2K14, LeBron James.
When they told me they had a surprise set up, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I know, right? It's video game James in the flesh.
There was no doubt that LeBron James was the best basketball player in 2014. He was unchallenged and frankly unbeatable. With 4 consecutive trips to the NBA Finals and 2 championships to show for it, LeBron James was the automatic pick for the cover of NBA 2K14. And after appearing on the cover of the basketball simulation game, James decided his talents were more suited to his old team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. When he took off of the Miami Heat, fans were devastated. This was obviously a huge win for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were led to 4 straight trips to the finals, winning the ring in 2016. Thus, the curse apparently began. According to superstitious fans, that is. Like we mentioned before, this kind of video game cover curse isn't only restricted to NBA 2K. In fact, the Madden curse, named after the Madden football game, is a curse wherein an NFL player who's featured on the Madden NFL game will decidedly get injured in the upcoming season. Of course, this curse is much grimmer than the NFL 2K curse, but it can lay the foundation for the argument that these curses have some truth to them. The insane discovery was made by Twitter user Eric Fawcett in July 2017, who noticed a pattern in the NFL 2K covers over the years, and ever since then, it's taken off. NBA 2K15, Kevin Durant.
Are you good at this game?
I'm really good. 15 years, been playing for 15 years, I have to be pretty good.
Let's talk about Kevin Durant and how the curse affected him. As one of the most prolific scorers on all 3 levels that the game has ever seen in the year, it was inevitable that the star player would end up on the video game cover. He was one of the most beloved players of the year, but of course the curse got him too. What followed the cover release was one of the most divided decisions the NBA had ever seen, when Durant left the Oklahoma City Thunder after a seemingly insignificant loss to the Warriors and joined the Golden State Warriors in the offseason. Bear in mind that Durant was up 3-1 against them at one point in the Western Conference Finals. This, however, seemed like a solid career move. After all, he became part of the team that has broken the Chicago Bulls record of most wins in a regular season by going 73-9 in that very season, leading to the solidification of one of the greatest dynasties ever seen in the NBA. Hey, at least he won back-to-back rings and Finals MVPs. There's a reason, after all, for why Kevin Durant got back-to-back features on the NBA 2K cover. Peace?
So you practice hard, play hard, and eventually you're playing beyond the shadows and casting your own.
After 2 years of consecutive loss, the NBA 2K curse finally saw a break in the game's 2K16 edition. Of course, the curse hadn't exactly been discovered yet, and perhaps the fact that 3 different editions of the game were released with James Harden, Steph Curry, and Anthony Davis featured on the covers respectively. Our guess is that the curse got too confused and gave up for the year. NBA 2K17, Paul George.
That means everything to me because just my journey, my path, where I started from.
Third on this list, we have Paul George, who at first seemed to be incredibly excited to be featured on the NBA 2K cover and joining the relatively short list of these uber-elite NBA players. NBA 2K decided to hire him for the cover feature since not only was George one of the best two-way players on earth, he was also newly recovering from an injury in 2015. This made him a huge inspiration. George was visibly ecstatic for the opportunity, but soon it became clear that his team, the Indiana Pacers, would no longer be in contention for the Eastern Conference title and the NBA title. This led to PG-13 refusing to commit to the Pacers long term. He initially wished to be traded to the LA Lakers in 2019, but the Lakers never ended up making a real offer to George. They believed themselves to be strong favorites to sign George in the 2018 free agency without giving up assets. Alas, things worked out really well for George when the Oklahoma City Thunder approached the player with a solid offer. They wished to create their own big three with Westbrook, PG, and Carmelo, and the rest is history. Well, at least until he moved to the Clippers after his two-season run in the Oklahoma team. Paul George's slightly convoluted leave makes the curse seem mildly threatening or somewhat amusing. NBA 2K18, Kyrie Irving.
I stay true to who I am, always living in truth.
Next up, we have Kyrie Irving, whose tale is comparatively more complicated, at least for the game designers. Maybe the NBA 2K curse was feeling stronger that particular day, or maybe this was all just a coincidence. But a few weeks into being hired by the gaming company for his cover feature, he decided to switch teams. More specifically, switch from the Cleveland Cavaliers to the Boston Celtics. This was a really big and controversial move, and since the game wasn't out yet, NBA 2K had to pull the initial cover and switch the image to show Irving in a Celtic jersey. What's more, NBA 2K had to release two different covers to accommodate his abrupt move. This left fans in a frenzy on social media. However, his tenure at the TD Garden didn't go as expected, and he ended up walking away as a free agent to join Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. NBA 2K18, DeMar DeRozan.
I'm DeMar DeRozan, and you're watching 2K TV.
Of course. We can't expect peace for too long when the curse is constantly looming over our heads. An alternate cover, which featured DeRozan, seemed to double the curse value when this player, who seemed to be set in his ways, fell victim to it. DeRozan has been viewed by many as a long-term Raptor, given his deal through the 2020-2021 season. Apparently, the curse has struck, and in 2018, Kawhi Leonard refused to suit up for the Spurs, which resulted in a landscape-altering deal that saw Raptors trade DeRozan as the focal point of the deal to land Leonard. And that was that. NBA 2K19, LeBron James again.
How could they have known? How could they have known they stood before a king?
Okay, so this one was predicted a while ago, but the fact that NBA 2K still picked LeBron James for their feature, we choose to believe it's the curse. James has also dominated the league for 16 years straight. It was a no-brainer that LeBron James would be on the cover of NBA 2K19, their 20th edition of the game. Rumors of the player desiring to leave the Cavaliers for good have been circulating around for a while now. So no one was entirely surprised when LeBron James ended up signing with the LA Lakers to try and take the team back to their championship-winning ways. Despite suffering an injury this year, the man keeps level-headed and will finally be taken to the playoffs for the season. The stunning gold on the cover makes it incredibly pleasing to look at as well. Do you think it was the curse that made LeBron leave the Cavaliers? Or was it just luck that the same coincidence happened to him twice? NBA 2K20, Anthony Davis.
Next, we got now. Next, we got now.
The latest addition to the curse came in 2020 in the form of Anthony Davis being featured on the cover. At this rate, we suppose the NBA 2K designers are looking for people wanting to change teams, and this may be their way of combating the curse. Of course, everyone knew that Anthony Davis has been the best big man in the world for a while now, actually, and it was abundantly clear that he'd already outgrown his old team, the New Orleans Pelicans. Any fan of the team or Davis knew that the player did not shy away from demanding to be traded publicly. These bold statements drew anger and criticism from a lot of his fans. Of course, the Pelicans held onto him for a whole season, but it was clear that his leave was inevitable. He was eventually traded to the Lakers in the summer. And now, Damian Lillard has been featured on the NBA 2K21 cover. Do you think he'll have the same fate as his predecessors? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.